Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. I have lipstick on my teeth and I didn't feel like doing the video over. I hope you enjoy it. This video is about Mercury retrograde. Of course, this video is part 1. Part 2 is available on Patreon, where I go over sun, moon, rising placements, pull cards, see what channel messages come through. So when it comes to this Mercury and retrograde energy, it's happening from March 15th until April 7th. And Mercury retrograde, so we hear a lot about Mercury retrograde. Whenever Mercury is retrograde, in retrograde phase, we talk about how Mercury is going backwards, but instead what happens is the planet slows down so much in relations to the others that it appears to be going backwards. It's like observing cars on the highway and they're going super fast, and one car slows down so much to the rest that it appears to be going backwards because it slowed down so much and the others are going fast. So yeah, it looks like it's going backwards, but it's not. It's just a lot slower. So whenever Mercury is in retrograde phase and it's slowed down so much to the point that it appears that it's going backwards in our skies, I feel like the energies are so much more amplified when planets are in retrograde because they're slowed down. Their energies are so focused. And with the energy being so much more focused than normal, that's where a lot comes up with Mercury energy and Mercury being a trickster. So with Mercury being a trickster, meaning Mercury is not a god, but was assigned the responsibility to be the messenger of the gods. And Mercury reflecting the mind reflects the mind's ability to go to go down to the underworld where Pluto is, and then go to the higher world where the other gods are. And it shows the mind's ability to be flexible and go from different extremes to the next when it comes to thinking. And Mercury energy was known as a trickster because I think when Mercury was a child, it stole or did some kind of, I think it stole, if I'm not mistaken. If you know better, correct me. But I have this mythology book that I read, and I think Mercury had stole, and instead of being punished for stealing, it was assigned the job as a messenger because of it being so clever. And the mind can be a thief. When you think of, say, if you ever try meditating and you're trying to focus your attention on a thing and the mind convince you to focus on something else. The mind can convince you to put your attention somewhere else opposed to something else, and it feels like time has been stolen. But the mind is very powerful, and when Mercury is in retrograde, I imagine it as us looking backwards, and whatever sign Mercury is in going in retrograde, the energy is amplified in that area, and it's like our eyes are rolled backwards as we're reflecting on whatever that thing is intensely. And a lot of mistakes can happen when Mercury is in retrograde, I feel, because of us being so focused on whatever it is that we're dealing with at the time. So because we're distracted with ourselves or whatever we're looking at, is like, imagine people driving, but they're looking back while they're driving. So that's why Mercury gets a bad rep, where it's like Mercury is in retrograde, technology and everything else is going to, give problems because Mercury is in retrograde. But I feel like it's because us, the people, our focus aren't where it normally is, so we make a lot of mistakes. For me, when Mercury is in retrograde, I don't stop my life. I keep living my life and I do whatever it is that needs to be done. Certain things I'm conscious of though, but for the most part, I don't stop my life. I go about my life and do what needs to be done, but I challenge myself to be more present and focus more than ever, because I have to be the eyes for others who aren't really seeing for themselves. You know, people make a lot of mistakes while Mercury is in retrograde, and it's because their focus, their attention is looking back at something opposed to looking forward and looking what's ahead. And I find that, you know, when Mercury is in retrograde, I get a lot of, you know, things tend to work out for me because people aren't paying attention. You know, I'm not taking advantage of the fact that people aren't paying attention. I just go out into the world and I'm intentional and I'm clear about what it is that I want. And it normally works out easily because I'm focused and I'm locked in, and most people aren't paying attention. So life goes on. But with Mercury and retrograde energy and dealing with reflection, with Mercury in retrograde, we also have Venus in retrograde at the time, and Venus is in Aries, and Mercury is also starts out its retrograde phase in Aries, like Venus starts out in Aries also. But with Venus also being there, I think of how old connections are going to come in, or we're going to reflect on them. Because with this happening in Aries, there's something that needs to be learned or understood about myself, you know, about the I am, how I look, my motivations, how I want to be seen. So I have to reflect on the things that I value and why I value them, with Venus energy also there. So the mind wants to understand itself more, and this might cause us to bring, you know, attract in people or connections from the past to help us to see ourselves, you know, based on what happened in these connections. Because it's we hear people say a lot, you know, I'm going to take some time to work on myself. But I personally believe real work starts when we are interacting and dealing with each other. Because when we are by ourselves or with our pets who won't talk back and tell us the truth about ourselves, you know, there is no problems. But when we're dealing with each other, that's when we get to see how much we've grown or not. So I feel like with Mercury retrograde energy and in Aries, we're reflecting on ourselves. We're reflecting on our ambition. We're reflecting on our motivation. What motivates me to do the things that I do? You know, how do I want to be seen? And Mars, the ruler of Aries, is in the sign of Cancer. So right now, our ambition and our motivation is in a place where it's like it's in a rest stop. It's like it's underwater. So things feel pretty stagnant for the most part. So we're able to really reflect on ourselves, get a good look at ourselves to see what motivates us. Why do we want the things that we say we want? What do we want exactly, and why we want it? And in the process, yeah, different people from the past might come in. Some things that I say I don't do while Mercury is in retrograde, I feel, say you meet someone new during Mercury retrograde phase, I feel that this person or this connection plays a very significant role in you being able to see something in yourself that you can't see on your own. And I personally believe while Mercury is in retrograde, it's not a good time to start a new relationship, but instead it's a perfect time to just get to know the person and take things slow. Some of you might notice situations where when Mercury retrograde, maybe certain people come back into your life, and during the Mercury retrograde phase, you guys are hot and heavy, and it ends just as fast as it started right before Mercury goes back direct. Because there was something to be learned about you and something to be learned about you, and even you in relations to why that person popped in to be of lesson to you and you of lesson to them in some way. So Mercury, is in retrograde from March 15th until March 29th in the sign of Aries. And then on March 29th until April 7th, it goes into Pisces, just like Venus is doing something similar, where Venus went to retrograde phase March 1st until March 27th. It's in the sign of Aries. And then from March 27th to April 12th, it's in Pisces. So the second half of Mercury retrograde, it's in Pisces. And with it being in Pisces, Mercury is in a place where, you know, Pisces, first of all, has been under construction with Saturn retrograding there. And I feel with Mercury retrograding there, I think the second half of Mercury retrograde for some of us will have our minds blown. I think we'll have our minds blown for the simple fact that with Pisces being such a not mythical, but mystic, like mysterious, with Pisces 12th house Neptune energy being such a mysterious, psychic, intuitive place that isn't understood by most. With Mercury in retrograde there and Saturn already being there, I feel like the mind will have a lot of intuitive or psychic type experiences. I feel like during the Mercury retrograde, especially during the part where it's in Pisces, we might hear news or things about maybe some things will come up about psychic abilities and CIA in relations to psychic abilities and things like that. I think of how they'll drop different documents and files and things, kind of giving us permission to know what it is that we already know about our abilities, whether it's remote viewing or channeling or seeing different things and whatnot. But I thought of, like, you know, extraterrestrial activities or a lot of conversations or news about that during the retrograde in Pisces. I feel like the retrograde in Pisces energy with Mercury slowed down so much. I think some of us might revisit old dreams that we've had or premonitions we've had. And when Mercury is all done leaving Pisces, it's going to help us to see how that our premonition actually works, that we can trust ourselves, how intuitive we actually are. It'll also help us to see different blocks or unconscious things about ourselves that we overlooked, that we didn't know was there. Maybe ways how we would get in our own way and we couldn't see it. When I think of Pisces 12th house energy, I think of how hard it is to see what's in the subconscious mind, which is what that energy reflects. And the way how you see what's in your subconscious mind is by observing your repetitive behavior. And it's the repetitive behavior that I think of the person doing a thing that they don't like that they do. A person continues to end up with a result that they don't like. And it's an unconscious behavior that gets us that result that we don't like. And with Mercury in retrograde and Pisces, we're able to slow that energy down and say, aha, now I see what it is that I do that causes X, Y, Z, or ABC to happen. With Mercury retrograde and Pisces, okay, now I see how I escape reality and how this is negatively affecting my health. How I escape reality or lack discipline, why I am not able to achieve my goals and make things happen. How I escape reality and I'm not able to pretty much take control of my life because I'm escaping reality all the time. I constantly feel like I'm drowning because I'm not showing up for my life. Mercury retrograde in Pisces will help us to see all of that, help us to see how we show up and we volunteer our services to others, how we show up and we overgive, we give what it is that we can't afford to give in certain situations. So when it comes to this retrograde energy, for me, it's powerful because first, when it starts in Aries, we reflect on ourselves and what it is that we appreciate about ourselves, what we value about ourselves, how we want to be treated and how we should be treated, our motivations, where it come from, why we're motivated the way we're motivated. We reflect on who am I? What do I love about myself? What makes me happy? What makes me feel seen? We reflect on our whole, how we're seen, who we are, who we say we are. And then when it goes to Pisces, we're reflecting on our ability to heal ourselves, our ability to heal others. We're reflecting on our intuitive and psychic abilities. We're reflecting on our ability to travel in the dream state, travel through premonitions, intuitions. We reflect on the fact that we're all travelers. It's a matter of being aware of our ability to do so or not. Let's pause for a bit. I am proud of the services that I offer and excited to tell you about them. If it would be your first time booking with me, then I recommend the natal chart and numerology awareness coaching session. For a while, that was the only service I offered, along with the 30 minutes tarot reading. which is still available if you're interested. I noticed the pattern. At the end of the natal chart and numerology coaching sessions, some of you would ask me for a follow-up service options for additional clarity and guidance to assist you with whatever you're going through at the moment. I kept saying, I'll look into it. I don't know why it took me so long. Finally, I have created that option along with the service option to book a solar return chart reading for those of you who are strategic and like to plan ahead. Everything you need to know is within the description box below. Let's get back into the video. Also in Pisces, we'll reflect on how we give. You know, do we find ourselves in situations often where we're doing all the giving and there's no reciprocity? This energy, you know, will help us to become aware of it, because first in Aries, we're reflecting on I'm worthy and I'm deserving. So when it goes into Pisces, okay, you know, maybe before I would overdo and I would overgive because I didn't know I was worthy and deserving. So now, because I know that I love to give and I love to serve, I'm going to pursue a career that allows me to show up and give and serve for a living, because it's something that I just love to do, opposed to taking on connections where I'm taking on projects where I'm giving, and they're not even receptive to what I'm giving because they didn't even ask. So when it comes to, say, this Mercury retrograde energy, I just love that Venus kind of sets the stage for Mercury. Like Venus was there first, helping us to see what it is that we value in these areas. And then Mercury goes and the mind locks in and the mind focuses on, you know, what it is that we appreciate about ourselves. You know, so while Mercury is in retrograde in Aries, some of us might decide that we want to do major makeovers. We want new hairdos. We want to lose some weight. We want to gain some weight. We want to get more fit. You know, we want to take better care of ourselves. We want to put ourselves first, whatever that looks like. You know, so with Venus first there and then Mercury joins, you know, the mind is in alignment with making positive changes to how we're seen and our motivation, our ambition, and things of that nature. And then, you know, when Venus and Mercury goes into Pisces, it's more reflecting and valuing our ability to manifest. You know, I think of, say, Pisces energy is the dream. You know, the dream is a blueprint to reality. So with Venus there, I value my premonition, my intuition. I value my dreams, you know, and then with Mercury there, reflecting on those dreams, those premonitions, and those visions that we value. And I feel like with the work that was done with Aries, it's like I'm worthy and I'm deserving of this. I can give myself permission to have these things because I am worthy and I'm deserving. Where before the run through Aries, you know, some of us might not have given ourselves permission to have the things that we say we want, have the things that we deserve. And through this Mercury retrograde phase, we're able to reflect and give ourselves permission to have and be whatever it is that we want to experience in this life. So this video was part 1 of Mercury retrograde. Part 2 is available on Patreon. I'll see you there. Before you go anywhere, let me know you're here with me by dropping me a red heart in the comment box below. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.